Woodstone Rolling Mills, part of United Engineering Steels, was situated on the old Rubery Owen cylinders and heavy engineering site in King's Road between Darlaston and Wednesbury. It was developed on this site in 1976 from redundant equipment purchased from various parts of the country. Originally designed to service the engineering industry through the network of smaller steel stockholders within the Midlands, its flexibility and rapid response provided an excellent service. Raw material for the mills was steel billets. These were purchased from steelmakers mainly within the UK, although some came from as far afield as Finland and Iceland. These billets, either round or square, were delivered in long lengths of about 18 metres. The long billets had to be cut down to less than 3 metres for charging into the reheating furnace prior to rolling. Medium and low carbon billets were cropped on the cold crop shear. Once cut to length, the billets were transferred to the furnace loading area for charging to the furnace. This is a sloping hearth pusher type furnace. It has a single heating zone with 3 dual fuel gas or oil burners firing from the front of the furnace. The furnace had a capacity of 40 tons and was capable of reheating billets from cold to the 1200 degrees centigrade rolling temperature at a rate of 12 tons per hour. The billets were pushed along the furnace to the hot end and then pushed out one by one by a long bar called an iron man. There were 2 mills in operation at Woodstone. The largest, seen here, is the 18-inch hand mill. The mill consists of a series of sets of rolls called stands. These particular stands each have 2 rolls, set one above the other, and are called 2 high stands. This mill has 4 stands set side by side, driven by a single motor. Each roll has a number of grooves called passes cut into it, and each pass is a slightly different size and shape. The hot billet is fed through each pass in turn and then back over the top 2 rolls. This is repeated until the required size and cross section is produced. The roll stand on display outside the gallery is the 3rd of this set. The work was very hot and dusty and required a great deal of strength, particularly in the wrists. Each stand was operated by 2 men, but because of the physical nature of the work and the hot conditions, they had to be backed up by a spare crew and swapped over every 20 minutes. Each billet could weigh as much as a half a ton, and the only mechanical aids available to the rollers were a pneumatic lift to help lift the steel billets over the top rolls and floor-mounted motorised rollers. The rest was down to muscle power and technique, and these experienced rollers make it look a lot easier than it is. The first stand was generally known as the cogging stand, and the rolls in it known as bolting rolls. The operators of these rolls were known as bolters down. In this sequence we can see the billet hot from the furnace being cogged down from 160mm to 100mm square. To work the steel and to refine its structure, the passes are shaped alternately diamond and square, each one smaller than the last. After each pass, the billet is turned through 90 degrees so as to work all sides in turn. Reduction of the product continues until at the last pass the final size is reached. With this type of mill, the final shape could be achieved by feeding the material through the same pass a number of times. When rolling is complete, the bar is transferred on a roller track to a 5-foot water-cooled hot saw to have the front and back ends removed. These ends, known as fishtails, are heavily deformed and unsound in the centre. The temperature of the product at this point is still almost 1000 degrees centigrade, having maintained much of its temperature due to the conversion of the energy of rolling into heat. The finished bar is fed onto a natural draft cooling bed and air cooled to about 400 degrees centigrade before moving to stock or further processing. The second mill at Woodstone, the smaller of the two, was a 12-inch mill with a 17-inch cogging stand. In the cogging stand, you can see that unlike the two high stands of the previous mill, this stand has 3 rolls set each above the other, and so is called a 3-high stand. This configuration allows the steel billet to be worked both forwards and backwards through the stand, so improving productivity and reducing manual effort. Passing the bar through both sets of rolls can be clearly seen. Each pass reduces the size and alters the shape by a small amount. The amount of reduction that can be taken is governed mainly by the diameter of the rolls and the power of the motors. The bar is gradually shaped and reduced in size through the 12-inch mill until the required size is produced. Here, Tommy, the roller for the 12-inch mill, is checking the size and section of the finished bar. Woodstone rolling mills closed in April 1993. The process was certainly labour intensive and some of the technology 19th century, but by the expertise of its workforce, its product and service to the industry was second to none.